Do you remember what happened in the Bible's book of Daniel chapter 10, when Angel Gabriel was thwarted by Lucifer, the prince of Persia, and Angel Michael, the prince of Israel, was forced to descend from heaven in order to help Gabriel? Angel Gabriel was able to deliver his message to Daniel before going back to meet Michael and continuing their battle. As you may assume, this was not a minor altercation. Due to the way it was described in the Bible, you could be tempted to picture two people battling. You might even see an angel and some sort of demon-like entity fighting it out in the clouds. Well, it didn't actually happen that way. In reality, there was a full-scale conflict between good and evil, a battle between angels and demons, and armies of each cantonment. There have been countless confrontations between angels of God and that of demons of Satan, from the initial battle between the angels of God headed by Michael, and that of the angels led by Lucifer, before they subsequently became the demons of Lucifer. They have engaged in a furious combat using weapons other than the usual swords, spears, arrows, and knives to attack one another. With these weapons at their disposal, they can engage in combat by using high-intensity electric current or laser beams to subdue their adversaries. In addition, the angels possess the power to issue commands and obtain instantaneous outcomes by using spoken words as weapons. Since any of the demons can assume Lucifer's body and fight as Lucifer whenever they engage in combat, it can occasionally be impossible to tell them apart. In fact, the Bible even claims that there are times when Lucifer manifests as an angel of light. This means that in his endeavor to combat God's angels, Lucifer can incorporate elements of trickery and surprise. Therefore, Lucifer himself, who must have assumed the identity of the prince, who is the prince of Persia that the Bible refers to. Do you recall when Satan attempted to steal Moses' soul after his death? Actually, Satan did not attempt to steal his soul himself. He did it through the demon Belphegor. He required a specialist in the field of soul capture because he was attempting to capture Moses' soul and send it to hell. This is where Belphegor came in. Now, I sincerely hope you are not anticipating that the Prince of Persia was one individual battling the angel Gabriel with a sword for 21 days. No, not as it is stated in the Bible. The Bible only refers to the leaders of each camp, not the actual combat that took place in which other angels participated. The Prince of Persia was not there by himself. He was there with his legion of soldiers to prevent the angel Gabriel from telling prophet Daniel about the salvation of children of Israel who were then being held captive. Well, I'll be detailing the bloody conflict between the angels Michael and Gabriel and the Prince of Persia and his army in this video. But who is this Persian prince? Who was it that Lucifer posed as? I'll start the story at the very beginning so you can fully comprehend who this individual is. Since the moment Satan announced himself to be God's greatest enemy, he has been arranging and directing global events solely for the sake of achieving his objective as God's main opponent. You see, once Lucifer was expelled from heaven as a result of his rebellion, pandemonium was established as the center of hell. As the end times approach, he hasn't relaxed. In fact, he's working harder than you might imagine. As Beelzebub assumed the role of Prince of Hell, Lucifer made the decision to focus his efforts as the chief evil coordinator on maintaining control over the world's kingdoms and empires. And keep in mind that when God drove the Nephilim from the earth, they evolved into the malevolent demons ruling the planet from the sky. They were quickly enlisted into Lucifer's army to serve as his foot troops in carrying out all of his objectives for the world. He took advantage of the structures that humans had built on Earth after realizing that they would make it simple for him to access them. He saw that humanity had monarchs and rulers of their realms, and that these world leaders had a significant impact on the lives of their subjects on Earth. They have the power to impose their own rules on how humans should behave and live on Earth. Except for the Israelites, who still referred to God as their monarch occasionally, the majority of the world's population had kings. That made Lucifer unhappy, so he had to persuade the Israelites to request that Prophet Samuel anoint a human king for them. This was due to Lucifer's earlier attempts to pierce them on a personal level, which were less successful than he had anticipated. Their troubles started as soon as God gave them leader Saul as a human leader, as they had to deal with Lucifer's interference in their national affairs. By exerting influence over the Israelites, God's chosen people, through their kings, religious leaders, and the other nations they interacted with, Lucifer was able to accomplish this. Lucifer was the wicked force behind the way the Egyptian pharaoh treated the Israelites while they were in captivity in Egypt, despite the fact that he had begun to influence them much earlier. Through Joseph, their brother, they entered Egypt as royalty. Nevertheless, they left with Moses, their brother, as slaves. The pharaohs of Egypt were under the influence of Lucifer during their exile in Egypt. Their struggles did not end there. Using his newly discovered means of persuasion, Lucifer went on to control the kings of Persia who had been holding Israelites as slaves up until this point. The Israelites were therefore living under Persian dominion at this time, which is why the Bible refers to the demonic force battling Gabriel as the Prince of Persia. Alternatively, it merely refers to the demon in command of Persia and not the monarch or prince of Persia who is human. Naturally, Lucifer is in command of every demon and everything that occurs spiritually in the universe. However, he is responsible for everything that occurs in the world since he employs the demon with the most expertise and experience for the given task at hand. In order to defeat Gabriel, he would need to have angels on the scene who would be the first to hear Daniel's petitions to God. He didn't wait for an answer before acting because he was certain that God would respond to Daniel. Before the angel Gabriel could reach the earth, he made the decision to ambush him. Angels like Belphegor, Mammon, and Satanas were in charge of the direct squad and were waiting for Gabriel to pass so they could stop him. Satanas, an angel, was the one who first noticed him as he was moving through the clouds and threw a dart at him, knocking him to the ground. He fell unconscious. But before the demons arrived to take his body, he awoke with a force that sent shockwaves to Satanas, who then struck him with another blow of force. He was knocked out once more. The other demons charge at Gabriel and encircle him with their laser beams in an effort to drain his strength, but they are unsuccessful and can only roll Gabriel in chains and hang him in the air. They noticed that there was a strong force field surrounding him that prevented any kind of weapon from penetrating him when they attempted to hurt him. Swords, spears, and daggers were all used in an attempt to pierce his defenses, but none of them were successful. He attempted to free himself from the shackles as he woke up, but he was unable to do so on his own because of how powerful the chains were. They attempted to yank him from the place where he had been hanged and drag him to Pandemonium, the seat of hell, where they were in charge. However, he grew too heavy and immobile for anyone to move him. They made the decision to keep him there in shackles from the moment he was taken until another 20 days in the hopes that the longer he is there, the weaker he will grow and the greater the chance that they will be able to hurt or remove him. God became aware that the message he had instructed Gabriel to bring to Daniel had not yet been delivered as a result of Daniel's unceasing prayers. When it became necessary to find out what had happened to him, it was found that Lucifer had been preventing Gabriel from telling Daniel what God had to say. Michael was dispatched by God to go seek his release from Lucifer's control. Angel Michael flew to the area where Lucifer was holding Gabriel while bringing several of the most powerful angels with him. When they arrived, Gabriel was still bound and in chains, with other demons preventing him from leaving the captivity. The demons were instantly struck by Angel Michael, and they fled from Angel Gabriel's protection. Then, while he and the other angels with him rose to battle Lucifer, Michael freed Gabriel from his bound and allowed him to finish his message delivery. Gabriel was about to go when demon Satanas launched another dart at him, hitting him in the back and causing him to tumble out of his path. However, Angel Uriel ran to save him and then removed the dart from his back. Then, while he and the other angels battled Lucifer, Angel Michael instructed Gabriel to hasten and deliver the news to Daniel. Gabriel was released and hurried out of the area, while Michael and the other angels with him shielded Lucifer with their wings from Gabriel as he soared away. While Gabriel proceeded to tell Daniel the news, the battle between the angels and demons continued. Because neither the angels nor the demons could die, even if they were hit to death, the combat dragged on longer than it usually would have. Thus, when one camp fires missiles at the other camp, it will hit the camp and cause an explosion, which may temporarily destabilize them but never stop them from regenerating and continuing the battle. The angel Michael's camp was keen on making sure Gabriel could deliver his message, while the camp of Lucifer was bent on making sure Daniel could not receive it. Gabriel fought until he was able to speak with Prophet Daniel and deliver the message to him. The message was verbal, contrary to what one might assume, and the angel Gabriel had to stay with Daniel for a while so that he could record all the messages before he was permitted to depart. Angel Gabriel made a comeback to join Angel Michael and the other angels so they could increase their power and drive the demons out of their way. They were compelled back into hell, where they belong by force. But keep in mind that since Thnakk's time, Lucifer and the demons have ruled the cosmos from hell to the earth and are still alive to fight another day. They have the power to return to the earth at any time. Thank you for your support.